So today I'm going to talk about how to effectively deal with change in your real estate wholesale business. And this could be for any business or for life in particular. And we've gone through a lot of change lately in the real estate market and in wholesaling in general. So I'm really looking forward to today's episode. But before I jump into today's show, if you have not been over to nextlevelwholesaling.com and you have not taken the Next Level Wholesaling Assessment, what are you waiting for? Head on over there. If you want a big, fat, profitable business, and what I mean by big, fat, profitable business, you don't have to have a lot of people, but if you want a small, powerful team that throws off cash month after month after month with little to no involvement from you, check out nextlevelwholesaling.com. Now, no promises. It's not going to happen overnight, but I got to tell you what, I've done over 1,400 deals, and the vast majority of those have been done by my team members. I am so thankful, and the things that I learned from taking this assessment on a quarterly basis have been absolutely game changing. As a matter of fact, I can't tell you the last time I've met with a motivated seller or spoke to a buyer. It's been pretty cool. Without my team, I would be nothing. So any of you listening to this, I really appreciate you be willing to learn, but also my team members. If you're listening to that, I appreciate that and helping us get to the next level. So nextlevelwholesaling.com. All right, so let's talk about how to effectively deal with change. Change in business is inevitable. Markets change, strategies change, laws change, marketing tactics change, competition changes, the people inside your business change. You change, right? You get older. So do your people, right? The needs and the wants of the new workforce, the young workforce, they change, right? The overseas labor market changes. Everything changes. Presidency changes. And so you got to learn how to deal with change. And if you get a chance, I would love for you to go on YouTube and watch. And by the way, if you are on YouTube, what I will try to do is I will try to either leave a link to that video or I will splice it into this video, okay? So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll try to splice it here at the end. At the very least, though, I will leave it in the description of the YouTube video. I will also, if you're on my email list, I will put a link to it on the email list. But you can Google "Who Moved My Cheese?" the movie in the YouTube, and you can find it. And the premise of the "Who Moved My Cheese" is all about 4 mice, and they are in this maze. And there are 2 mice, Sniff and Scurry, right? Sniff and Scurry, they have a lower IQ. They're not as smart, supposedly, right? They're not wrapped up in their emotions, and they have their sneakers on every day. They get up in the morning. They are ready to run throughout the maze and search to see what's going on. And they're not really too comfortable. And sure, they like all the cheese that they have in their part of the maze, but they are not attached to it. They know if things change, that they are going to put on their running shoes and go. That's why they call them Sniff and Scurry. And then we have the other 2 mice, Him and Haw. And oh boy, do they like their cheese, right? They like their section of the maze. And cheese is really whatever is important to you, right? It could be your wholesaling business, could be your marketing channel, could be one of your employees, could be the market that you're in, or maybe a contractor you're working with, or the escrow company, whatever that is the cheese. And Him and Haw, man, they like to Him and Haw. They love their life, and they don't really want change. If anything changes, they're going to Him and Haw and say, I don't like change. I'm not going to change. I want things to stay just like they are. Oh, man. Doesn't that sound unattractive, by the way? Sniff and Scurry, absolute savages, by the way, in the most endearing way possible. And so one of the things that you will see is all of a sudden, the cheese starts to disappear from this section of the maze, right? And of course, Sniff and Scurry right away, they see this. They're like, holy crap, the cheese is moving. And they put on their running shoes and they start running through the maze, and they bump into the wall and fall into a hole and hit their heads and go the wrong way. But all of a sudden, they don't care. They don't have time to get upset, and they go and find new cheese. And along the way, they find some new cheese, and they keep looking, and eventually they find the largest piece of new cheese that you can imagine. So much cheese you couldn't even eat it. But they had to get into that mode of changing. Him and Haw, on the other hand, just sat there and they began to rot and complain. And they sat in the same spot and doing the same things. And they were just so pissed about the cheese changing, they would not change, or moving, but they would not change. Him and hawing kept on, well, hemming and hawing, like they say in the movie. And so my point here, and the biggest part of this, is when you see change, you got to act, right? You got to be like Sniff and Scurry. You got to get scrappy. You got to not be attached to the past, but see the future and understand that it is scary to leave the section of the maze behind, the old cheese, how you knew things, that it's comfortable, right? But when you get out, sure, it's scary, but you are going to feel alive. Him and Haw would not leave the maze. Too scary, right? Too scary, and they began to rot away. So let me talk about some changes in the wholesaling business the last couple of years. Okay, I've talked a lot about texting in the past. Let me give you an update on texting. Texting absolutely sucks, okay? Absolutely sucks. Total nightmare. Does not work like it used to. Too many compliance issues. The companies that provide it aren't able to do this anymore. So if I made any recommendations on any companies that did mass texting, please disregard. That has changed. I told you I'm going to be real with you, okay? Texting sucks. Get out of it. Stop doing it. Total nightmare, okay? And so that is a marketing channel that was completely eliminated. So instead of sitting there and being like, texting was so easy and it was so cheap and I could reach so many sellers and get leads every day, wah! Okay, guess what? Who cares? Find a new marketing channel. Move on, okay? We also saw, over time, I love direct mail. But we also saw that a lot of the lists that we were mailing to were not performing like they were. So we had to eliminate like 80% of the direct mail that we were sending out and focus on the top 20% of the leads. And by the way, one of my favorite lead sources right now is if you go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance, you can get access to some of the hottest leads right now, small niche list of people who have inherited properties. And this is a phenomenal list that is working right now. Now, that could change. That could absolutely change, but you have to be ready like Sniff and Scurry. You got to jump on these opportunities and tear into them while they work, okay? Because you know why, okay? Markets change, competitions change. Sometimes things get saturated and you got to move on, right? That is business. You got to be fast. You got to be nimble. You got to outdo your competition, right? Only your best competitions listen to this podcast, right? Everybody else sucks. So that's the cool part. One of my other marketing channels that is working right now is fastsellerleads.com. Okay, this is where you could bid on leads, choose your market, choose how much you're willing to pay per lead, and wait for the leads to come in, right? You've got to use restraint. You got to bid the right amount. You got to make sure you're making money. But those are our main source. And then also, influencer marketing. Okay, we moved to influencer marketing because we lost texting and some other things. Influencer marketing was big for us in 2023 and 2024. Very, very, very high profit margin. So those are just three things that have changed in the last 18 months. Next thing is, hey, markets are changing. This is the weirdest market that I've been a part of. San Diego is still super hot. That's one of my markets that I've invested in the past. And also in Florida. But Florida has gotten really slow. When interest rates went up, right, the buyers got control. So what did we notice? Well, we noticed that stuff that we could just clean up and paint that needed love, right? That stuff was flying off the shelf like so easy because buyers had no other options. But as soon as inventory started going up, that stuff that we put on the market that needed a little more love, the retail buyers weren't eating that up because they had more options. So in that market, we had to stop wholetailing where we fixed up a property. We just left things as is. We also noticed that if we were going to touch a property, that we were going to have to rehab it all the way, which is not something I like to do. I avoid that. So just knowing that when we took down a property, if we were going to touch it at all, do anything, you'd want to rehab it all the way, okay? Or we just wholesale it for max profit, create a lot of competition, create a lot of buyers there, and still get our highest and best offer without touching a thing. With the exception of cleaning it out. I always recommend that you clean out your properties. It's a way to take away a lot of the unknowns from your buyer. So that's something that I love to do. All right, next is people. Man, I'm gonna hit home here. I love my people. I could not run the business without my people. And if you're gonna have anything of substance, you won't be able to run your business without your people unless you want to be chained to this thing all day long. But people, often, they start to rot. They get complacent. They get bitter. They start to lose motivation. And they start to think that there are greener pastures and they are underpaid. Now, this is not everybody, but it happens a lot. So I would say over time, 50% of your employees are going to turn into this, right? Hopefully it wouldn't happen to you, of course, but it's happened to me. So I'm just sharing that with you. So just know people's life circumstances change. Imagine you guys, everyone started out together, everything's great, right? But people, they have new phases of life. They have a divorce. They get remarried. They go from 2 kids to 4 kids, right? They want to retire. They want to travel. All these things. Maybe their health takes a dive, right? So that's going to change. You can't hold on to that. So you need to be interviewing all the time. You don't always have to be hiring, but you always have to be interviewing, okay? Always be interviewing. And that way, when there's change, right, you want to be like Sniff and Scurry, right? You want to be able to look and be able to, boom, grab somebody if you need to. Don't sit there and be like, I wish so-and-so was what they used to be, and hope that things were like they were. If you're thinking about firing somebody, don't wait. It's already too late, right? You should have fired them a year ago. Just FYI. All right, last. Something that's really interesting for me is investing in mobile home parks. On-site managers are really important in the mobile home park industry. But one of the things that's different than, let's say, if you're running a business in another industry, is that you can hire anybody who you want in terms of in a business, right? If you're looking for a marketer, you could hire anyone worldwide, right? Or someone to cold call for you worldwide. But in a mobile home park, this is really interesting. Something changed for me was that you really, when you're working with a manager, you have to work with the people who live in the park. So you're going to have one person to choose from, right? I'm sorry, one group of people to choose from, and you're gonna have to choose that one person. That was a big change from what I was used to. And so I had to change my skill set of working with managers that were in the park and only having a certain number of people to deal with. Now, forcing yourself or getting to work with one person is not going to be like that forever, right? As you improve a park, right, you're going to get new people to come in, and hopefully you're going to find a much better manager and be able to upgrade as time goes by. But one of the things I had to learn is, hey, sometimes you're going to need to stick with people longer than you would if you're in a scenario where you only have a certain amount of pool to work with. But here's my point. Change happens. You got to stay in front of it. Don't be like him and Haw, right? Don't sit there and worry about the change. Move with the change. Be hungry. Be nimble. Go out there and make big, fat checks, okay? Don't forget to check out that movie, Who Moved My Cheese? I will try to splice it in on YouTube if they allow us to do that. If not, I'll put the link in. I'll also put it in the email when I send out this podcast. Be like Sniff and Scurry, not like him and Haw. Make sure you smell your cheese and measure it often, right? Take action all the time. I mentioned texting sucks just for the fun of it. Direct mail, you got to be strategic. Check out nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance. Check out fasthourleads.com. I've talked a lot about influencer marketing on the last podcast. Absolutely love that. Big change for us. The market's changed, so make sure that you are working the right strategies in your market. Your people, they will change. Make sure that you are always interviewing for people if someone's not working out, right? Be prepared to move on quickly. And hey, with strategies or people, whatever it is, just be ready to put in the work. Be hungry. Don't overthink it. Take massive action. Don't forget to check out nextlevelwholesaling.com, and I will talk to you on the next episode.